prophesy against the shepherds of Israel, prophesy, and say unto them, even to the shepherds, thus saith the Lord Jehovah, woe unto the shepherds of Israel, that do feed themselves. Should not the shepherds feed the sheep? That's what we've got. We've got a lot of these fellas that are feeding their bellies rather than feeding the sheep. And the Bible says that the work of a shepherd is to feed the sheep, not themselves. We've got too many doing the very opposite. Listen to what he said. You eat the fat, and you clothe you with the wool. You kill the fatling, and you feed not the sheep. The disease have you not strengthened, neither have you helped that which that helped or healed and helped that which was weak and sick. Neither have you bound up that which was broken, neither have you brought back that which is driven away. Neither have you sought for that which was lost, but with force and with rigor have you ruled over them. Let me ask you little fair-headed, blue-eyed, rosy-cheeked fellas right here in Nashville, what have you been doing for the last 15 or 20 years when everybody knows that the Church of Christ has lost 10,000 of its sheep? Where are they? Now, ladies and gentlemen, how long do you think that these little fellas could hold down a job out here taking care of somebody's sheep or somebody's cattle or someone's hogs if the hogs got through the fence or the cattle wandered over on someplace else and they never went to look for them? Now, ladies and gentlemen, I've held meetings all over this country, and I'm thinking right now about the Mississippi Delta. I've got some good friends down there that are the overseers of some big plantations that raise these prize polled Hereford cattle. And I've stayed with them week after week after week in meetings and debates down in that country. And I know that they get up in the morning. The first thing they do is to saddle the horse or get in their trucks or jeep, and they drive around the fence line to see if there's any breaks in the fence. And they have a little book. I'm thinking of this one man in particular that I rode with. He had a little book in his pocket, and he had every one of these cattle. He had a chain around their neck. And he'd ride up close enough and mark down, here's number 7, here's number 77, and if one was missing, he never went back to the house until he went out and looked for it. Why? We're talking about money. Now, ladies and gentlemen, is a cow, a polled Hereford cow, worth more than a soul? Now, tell me what these preachers have been doing for the last 15 years right here in Nashville. I'm going to lay an indictment on them. I'm going to indict them. What have they been doing? The Banner said, and the Gospel Advocate said that 10,000 of the sheep have left since 1970. Is anyone out here looking for them? Now listen to me. God said, woe unto you shepherds. You eat the fat, and you clothe yourself with the wool. You kill the fatling, and you feed not the sheep. The disease have you not strengthened, neither have you healed that which was sick, neither have you bound up that which was broken, neither have you brought back that which was driven away, neither have you sought that which was lost, but with force and rigor have you ruled over them. The very thing that Peter said we're not to do. Now, ladies and gentlemen, tell me why. I'm talking about less than 3 months ago. Tell me why this Boston mess, I'm talking about this Crossroads mess, can come right here in the heart of Nashville and have a rally and steal hundreds of our young people. And the papers are saying, and this is not Don Rudd talking, I'm quoting the Gospel Advocate, I'm quoting the Firm Foundation, and I'm quoting all of these other papers that said that we have lost 150 congregations to the Crossroad mess. Now tell me why they could come to Nashville, Tennessee, and sit right up in the midst of this place if the shepherds were taking care of the sheep. Where are the 10,000? Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to ask you this until you dream about it at night. I'm going to say this until it rings in your ears. The Banner said that the Church of Christ has lost 10,000 members since 1970. Why? I want to know why. I'll tell you exactly why. I told you that you've been listening to these fellas for the last 35 years that have sold you out. They have mismanaged their affairs. They have been negligent in what they should do. And ladies and gentlemen, if they were lawyers, they would be disbarred. If they were doctors, they would be brought on the carpet for malpractice. You understand that? Now, I'm here to talk in language that we can understand because the day has come when we better quit pussyfooting around. We have played with people too long, And ladies and gentlemen, it's right here before us in black and white. All of you can see it. Now look what he said. Look down with me here in verse 5. And they were scattered. Who? Now I know what I'm talking about. And you know what I'm talking about. God is talking about the Jews 500 years before Christ. In other words, there were 2 million of them that came out of the land of Egypt under Moses. Now, ladies and gentlemen, they tried every way they could to annihilate themselves, and they almost did it. Now, turn to the last chapter of the book of Jeremiah and find how many were carried away. When Ezekiel was carried away, there were only 10,000 of them. Now, ladies and gentlemen, that's a long cry from 2 million. Now, I want to know what happened to those Jews. Somebody had mismanaged the flock. It started with Solomon. It came right on down the line. And in the time of Josiah, they had gone so far that the Bible, the law of Moses, was covered under the rubbish in the temple. Do you realize, ladies and gentlemen, that when this young man came to the throne, I'm talking about Josiah. He was only 8 years old when he became king, and he ruled a long time. He was a good king, one of the very best. And when he was repairing the temple, the workers in the temple uncovered the Bible, and they brought it to him, and he had it read. And he jumped up and rent his clothes and said, for Pete's sake, what's going on here? And he got out and began to clean house. We'll get back here. But now this is what happened to Jerusalem. I know what I'm talking about. But the application is today. What's happening to us? Those of us who are shepherds. Those of us who have had committed into our hands the care of the flock. What are we doing with the flock? Losing 10,000 of the members? Ladies and gentlemen, that just won't get the job done.